I'm Jon Reay. I'm CEO and founder of Rewrite Digital. This is a consultancy that is helping organizations to find ways in which they can harness digital better. And this is something that I apply to any sort of organization that I work with. So the reason I set this up was because I've been working with lots of different agencies and in strategy roles. And what I found is that a lot of the time I'm just a salesperson for the delivery side of the business, rather than actually adding real value and being able to be very candid about the right ways forward for clients. Because we've always had to try and encourage them to buy some of our delivery services. So I'd set up the business as a separate consultancy, and I work as a consultant in a number of guises with Cansulta as well. And I have a framework and a model that I put together to help identify what those digital opportunities are and make relevant recommendations for clients. So I started it up about 4 or 5 years ago because of that sort of challenge that I was experiencing in agencies. Here I am, still going a few years later, so can't be too bad. I love the freedom, to work when I want and how I want, and to sort of do things in a way that I think are going to add the most value for clients, rather than just sort of doing what someone else is telling me to do, or that's going to help the business in some way. So being a consultant, I can remain very independent, and be a lot more trusted as a result, and be able to sleep at night a bit better because I know that I'm adding genuine value. I get a lot out of making a difference, and I think I do better work if I have that sort of drive. I feel like I've got some insight and some value to offer businesses, and I get a bit of a buzz out of really helping them. But I like sort of dealing with people and seeing that actually people really value that as well. So there's a sort of a feeling of doing good that really makes a difference for me. Is not having a reliable salary. Every month is up and down, and you have to fight for what you earn, and sometimes there's too much work, and sometimes there's not enough work. And to begin with, that was quite a challenge, and I've come to accept that that's how it is in this world. So I've not really overcome the challenge, other than the realization that this is normal. Well, I'd thought about doing it for a long time before I did. So I would encourage anyone who is thinking about it to just go for it. It is a scary thing. Especially if you're having to sort of walk away from a full-time role. Sometimes people are in a position where actually that timing is sort of forced upon them, and maybe they're in the right timing to do this. But I think you can always say, oh, I'll do it next year, or I'll wait. But eventually you just need to do it. And that's probably my advice, is just do it. Yeah, no, and it's always good to explain that, because it means lots of different things to different people. The way I define it is actually to define digital first. So, for me, digital is about the use of technology and data across the whole business to meet higher consumer expectations, to drive innovation and intelligence and insights that cover the capabilities and the culture of your people, the processes and the systems that you use operationally, and the services and the experiences that you deliver for your audiences, your customers, both in an online environment and physical environment. So if you have a shop, for example, there's lots of digital technology you can apply in a shop, in a physical environment, as well as e-commerce. So it's pretty much everything within a business is digital, and digital transformation is the application of digital to create new or modify existing business activity in a way that then helps the business to grow or to be more effective, more efficient, more profitable. So it's about business change, really, because pretty much everything is digital, and transformation for me is a continuous process. It's not something that you say, right, we're going to do digital transformation, you do it, and then you go on to something else. This is something that is continually evolving, and digital transformation is a mindset as much as anything, because once you've got into that way of thinking, then you can always adapt to different technologies as they emerge. Well, the world has changed and continues to change. Digital is not just a nice to have or something that a team in your business works on. It's fundamental to the very core of every industry and every organization. And if you're not harnessing digital enough, your competitors will be. Your staff won't want to work with you because things would be a bit slow and clunky and not how they're used to. It's as simple as that. So it does affect everybody. Now, we'll come onto it in a second, I think, but this doesn't mean everybody's got to be at the cutting edge of digital and use every bit of digital technology. That's not the answer. And digital is an enabler for you to achieve what you're trying to achieve in business. So if you're trying to get more market share, you're trying to grow your margins, whatever you're trying to do, those are the objectives, and digital can help enable that in an increasingly dominant way. But it's not about doing everything in digital. That's not going to get you your results, and it might mean that you end up spending a lot of money on something that wasn't right for your business, or it wasn't the right time to do it. I think a lot of businesses have been burned in the past. They've been sold in digital transformation projects by agencies, IT companies, who've sort of sold them a dream, and it's not really turned out to be the way they envisaged, or they thought that buying some technology solved their problems, which on its own never does. So I think there's this sort of distrust inherently in a lot of organizations from what's happened before. I think organizations that are bigger and more traditional find it difficult to change. If something works, even if it's not working as well as it used to work, it's a big thing to take that out of the business, take a risk on digital and sort of fundamentally change it. People might not have the right skills within their teams to actually know what's right and have that sort of real confidence that anything that they do is the right thing. So I think as a result, a lot of these barriers just stop people in their tracks. But unfortunately, everything's moving very fast, and this is where there have been lots of, case studies of businesses that have been too late to really grasp this and haven't been able to sort of retain or grow their share of the market. So, it's important for everybody. I don't have the crystal ball. I think, as I mentioned earlier, chasing after the latest technology is not the answer. Obviously, at the moment, generative AI is a big topic. Last year, the metaverse was probably a bigger topic than it is this year. But then, you've got Apple launching their new Vision Pro, and you've got new social media channels all the time that are coming up. You've got lots of different technologies that are out there. The answer is not look at what the new technology is, and just apply it to your business. It's being aware of what technology is out there. So I think generative AI is a big thing. I think that has become very mainstream, and it's become very accessible for people to try it out and to see what it can do for their business. And I think that's a real positive example of a technology that does go beyond the hype to some extent. But what that actually means for businesses is still to be determined. So I think it's still at a very experimental stage. So what's next for that, would probably be a bit more of a maturity in that technology, a bit more confidence in using it in a certain way. And I think every technology goes through a certain curve here, and some of it never really materializes, and a lot of businesses end up investing money on things that they then don't get any reward from. But there are benefits. If you can be one of the first out there doing something, you can get a lot of exposure and PR out of that. So I can't really answer the question of exactly what's coming out, but I think the best thing for people to do is to be in a position where you're exposed to what's new, and you can then review it, look at it, see how that works for your organization, and make yourself set your business up in a way that you can respond to change if you need to very quickly. And this is agnostic of any particular technology, but I think having those things in place enables businesses to take advantage of what's new in the best way for them. Digital is something that is sort of taking over everything in a way that when you talk about digital, it sort of loses its meaning. So am I a digital consultant, or am I just a business consultant? Or, and I think the challenge is making sure that digital has relevance in business and in the world, and that there are people who recognize that there is a lot of value in having a digital specialist, even though digital is so all encompassing. So I guess a challenge that I find is that I call myself a digital generalist, because digital is so broad. I could never become a specialist on TikTok, media management or whatever. That there are so many slices of what digital are, and this is where I rely on specialists in certain areas, but I provide that really broad, shallow view of digital. And the challenge, I guess, is to continue to do that as digital broadens and continue to add value from a digital perspective, and use that to help businesses. And yes, it probably means that I'm going to end up being more of just a business consultant, and business consultants are going to, have a bit more of a digital weight to them, and these lines are going to blur a bit, and maybe we'll stop using the word digital because it will just be everything. But we're not quite there. I would invite any business who wants to sort of find out a little bit more about where they are on the digital journey to to get in touch through Cansulta to have a conversation with me, because I can determine quite quickly sort of where you are on that journey and what might add value to you, and I think that would be an interesting conversation, and hopefully one of value to people.